Hello, my friend. Welcome to WDW Radio Live. I am Lou Mangello. It is Wednesday night. It is my favorite night of the week. I hope it is yours as well. If you're watching live, thank you so very much for being here. Hope that you brought a snack, tagged and invited a friend, and are in for. We had a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. And if you're watching on the replay, don't forget to join us every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and or YouTube. And I was really looking forward to, I'm always looking forward to Wednesday night shows, but I'm really looking forward to tonight because we have not one, but two things to talk about. I forgot that Agatha All Along doesn't drop until 9 o'clock tonight. I was fortunate enough to get screeners of the first 4 episodes. So I want to talk a little bit about my very spoiler-free, I will not spoil anything at all, but my spoiler-free review of Agatha All Along. And then I want to talk about this week's podcast, specifically the new segment that admittedly, when I try, a lot of times when I try new things out, especially like the way, how quickly this idea came to me and how quickly I executed on it and how quickly like I got my friends to hop on, it's nerve-wracking, right? I've been doing this 20 years and still when I try something new, it's nerve-wracking, and your response has been like overwhelmingly supportive. So we'll have some fun talking about that. Thank you very much for being here. If you're watching for the very first time, please do me a favor and let me know where you're watching from. I will tell you that the original plan, which also came together or did not come together very, very late. I thought about this later. I was like, oh, I should grab, I mean, not like in a weird way. I should grab Connor and Lisa, get them together. I was going to take them to Wilderness Lodge and show them the error of their ways and why Wilderness Lodge is the most well-themed and relaxing and immersive resort. However, it couldn't happen for one reason or another. Maybe we'll do it again another time because it would be nice to sort of continue to follow up. But I want to talk to you and see if you are in and out. First of all, if you're in and out on the segment, like, do you like the idea? And two, if you're in and out in or out on some of the things that we talked about. I saw somebody just post this in the comments, and I do want to very quickly say I learned today, unfortunately, about the passing of a very, very, very long-time member of the Nation family tonight. I have known Ray Sharpton I was trying to figure it out, it's at least 13, 14 years. He was an active member of the community, has cruised with us multiple times before, come to a lot of events, and I was very, very sad to learn of his passing just a couple of weeks ago, and I feel like I was a bad friend for not realizing that it happened earlier, and I didn't know that he was not in the best of health. But I know he's in a better place, and I know he will continue to be with us in our community and be with us on future events and cruises. And Ray, you will be missed. So it is always sad to lose somebody who is a member of our extended family. So with that very awkward, very, very awkward transition, Lisa says, it is Connor's fault that it didn't happen. If we're going to point fingers, let's point fingers, although Lisa should not be pointing fingers at anybody considering her in or out opinions on the show this week. It's lisa@thecastlerun.com. But please make sure you tag me in any, and if you're going to send any nasty emails to Lisa and or Connor, please make sure you copy me on them so I can see the dialogue as it goes back and forth. Heather says, I'm out with Lisa and Connor. So I'm not sure if you're out like on them individually, or you're out with them in terms of some of their opinions that they were out of. We will get to that in a little bit. Let's do this first. Let's talk about Agatha All Along first. I really want to sort of, because my original plan was to talk about it tonight until I realized that it didn't drop. I was very fortunate, and thanks to Marvel Television and Marvel Studios for sending me not 1, not 2, not 3, but the first 4 episodes of Agatha All Along tonight at 9 o'clock, and I promise we will be done in time. The first 2 episodes, Seekest Thou the Road and Circle Sown with Faith, Unlock Thy Hidden Gate, just rolls off the tongue. Those drop at 9 o'clock tonight. But I really, as I was watching last night and going through a very wide range and spectrum of feels and emotions and thoughts and reactions, and I was sort of typing furiously. I wanted to get them sort of out of my head and share them with you in anticipation of the show dropping tonight. And it's funny because I was looking through some of the marketing materials and promotional materials that made zero sense as I first saw them. But I promise all of these things that you may or may not have seen, and I'm going to leave a couple out intentionally, but all of these that you have seen over the last couple of weeks or even days, maybe even hours, I promise you they will all make sense, which is a lot what happens in these shows is not everything makes sense right out of the gate. So I tried to be as relatively organized with my thoughts as possible, and I'm going to try and pay attention to your comments as well, and like juggle both at the exact same time. First things first, when I was thinking about Agatha All Along, and I was trying to sort of get my thoughts together, Catherine Hahn's performance, steals the show. She is captivating. She's captivating. Any of the praise that you may have seen about her online before, or any maybe reviews that you read today, is incredibly well-deserved. She has this dynamic wit and this incredible energy that really breathes life into this series. What you knew and loved about her from WandaVision is only magnified, and we'll talk about WandaVision a little bit. But we learn so much more about this character. She adds so much more depth to her. She's very intriguing, and I wanted to sort of leave it at that. And even we'll talk about sort of the pacing of the show and the tone, but even, as that sort of fluctuates and goes up and down, her performance is extraordinary from beginning to end. I liked her before, I love her now. I really, really liked it. So let's talk a little about the tone. Again, I promise I am not going to spoil anything. This is very different. It's similar in some ways to things like WandaVision, and that will make sense when you see it. But it has a very unique tone to it. It's this interesting balance, and I applaud the producers and directors and cast for balancing humor and the supernatural, right? It's that WandaVision sort of mix of dark comedy and supernatural elements that, sometimes is very cohesive, and sometimes it's a little jarring when you sort of go from comedy to some of the more darker tonal aspects of the show, which I will get into. There's a lot of humor mixed in, especially in the earlier episodes, right? Episodes 1 and 2, you'll see that. And it feels very MCU-ish in a number of ways in terms of, I think, that the tone that they were trying to make you feel, in some potential ways, maybe lull you into, because there are some things. But like WandaVision, and like some of the other shows, I think, on Disney Plus from the Marvel side of things, the show does not sort of start off with a bang, right? It starts off slow. You have to sort of, like even WandaVision, you have to sort of buy into it. And I think this is with a lot of multi-part series, or like reading a Stephen King book. You have to sort of let it simmer a little bit. It's got to be that slow build, especially in episodes 1 and 2. I promise you, episode 3 and episode 4 pay big, surprising, huge payoffs and dividends. There were moments I watched this on the couch by myself, as I needed to. I watched it by myself, and I was talking out loud to the screen. I had a couple of whoa, that was very surprising. And while the pacing can sometimes be, again, it's like a sine wave. It's slower in moments. That's fine. You have to let it sometimes. You got to let the sauce simmer a little bit, and it does. But don't, if you feel that way, don't give up, because I promise you that it ramps back up, because there are moments of like brilliance visually and tonally, moments of brilliance. So if you feel that it starts to meander a little bit, like stay focused, like stay with it. There's a reason for everything. Like most things seems to be paying dividends. However, and maybe I should almost preface this. Unlike things like WandaVision, which did take a little bit of a darker tone at the end, and some other shows on Disney Plus, this show is not for the kiddies. It gets there. It is dark in tone in some aspects. It gets downright creepy in others. Like there are legitimate horror elements in this show that were surprising to me. And I love the horror genre. I love horror movies. Like this is my time of year. I love like spooky movies. It gets there are scary moments. So if you're thinking about letting your kids watch, you obviously sort of have to judge the suitability for children and families. Even some of the supernatural themes might not be ideal for some younger viewers. There's magic, there's some creepiness, but there are some moments and there are some elements that are very different than what you're used to seeing on Disney Plus, right? We've seen things like Werewolf by Night, and even, Moon Knight had some darker things. And that's what I meant earlier about this interesting balance of the whimsical and the dark magic and the horror type elements, which I think like there was a couple of moments where like, okay, this is not something that young children will not just get, but they will not enjoy because some of the things are, a little creepy. And even more so than you saw in WandaVision. And this very much has a WandaVision feel to it. That will make sense when you see it. I don't mean specifically like, yes, there's callbacks to it and there are Easter eggs aplenty, but in terms of the way this is, again, without giving things away, the way that the episodes are being released and the tonal elements to them, those posters that you saw earlier, will make absolute sense. And you'd be like, oh, this does very much harkness back to WandaVision. So it'll be interesting to see for those people, and this has, I know, been sort of a question and criticism. It'll be interesting to see how this appeals to non-hardcore MCU fans, right? People who are sort of stepping into, first of all, I think you obviously need to watch WandaVision first. You need to sort of lay the groundwork for it first. So if you haven't watched WandaVision, like binge watch, knock yourself out tonight, like popcorn and Pepsi, make your way through it, because it very much is a continuation of that story, and the characters that you see are very much intrinsically tied to WandaVision. So there is fan service in here. I don't think that it's too much. There are definitely some payoffs of things that we hoped for, waited for, that were sort of referenced in the episodes of WandaVision. But you get a much deeper look into Agatha Harkness's backstory. And what that does is it gives not just Catherine Hahn, but this character so much more dimension. And even after episode 4, like I can see that there are gaps that they are getting ready to fill in for her character. So she's gone from being this, very clear antagonist to this very sort of, I think, complicated potential anti-hero. So we're learning more about her motivations as well as her history. So, and all this while like creating sort of a new level of world building. And again, without going too deep, without spoiling anything, you'll understand what all this means. And if you're familiar with WandaVision, you're going to have these light bulb moments like, oh, I get that. I understand why they did that. This is paying off this thing that I saw in WandaVision. And speaking of seeing, the visuals are stunning. The special effects are very, very well executed, especially when it comes to the use of some of the powers and some of the other things that happen. There's this very gothic tone to some of the scenes, and the set design is very, very, very impressive. I think WandaVision was a unique time and animal and moment in the Disney Plus verse, in the MCU verse. But I think while it's not the same, you'll find a lot of similarities between the two. And I think it's sort of building up that same type of narrative punch that WandaVision has. I'm going to be curious to see how this is received by broader audiences as opposed to just WandaVision fans and MCU fans. And going forward, and again, there's going to be 9 episodes, with the final one dropping on October 30th, which is beautifully appropriate. So the first 2 drop tonight, and September 25th, October 2nd, 9th, 16th, 23rd, 30th. So episode 8 and 9 will also drop on October 30th. I don't want to go too far into the characters because you haven't met them yet. We know, obviously, you know who the cast is. I will tell you, like, I can't specifically cite to all the things I've seen Aubrey Plaza in, but she is funny and quirky and like very mysterious. And I'm really curious to see where her role and arc is going to come through. And you'll see some familiar faces as well. But for me, some of the big takeaways were, one, Catherine Hahn and her character's evolution as Agatha. She is, I think, evolving from a secondary villain to a more complex anti-hero that I have a feeling they're setting up for further opportunities. Not just the opportunity in this show to sort of show her emotional depth and versatility, but opportunities for her, the character, this deeper exploration of somebody who was very intriguing in WandaVision. It justifies the existence of this show. I'm curious to see how the pacing is going to continue to go. Again, 1 especially, and then up to 2, it's a ladder, right? It's a sort of a slow burn. Things really sort of 3 and 4, again, I don't want to give anything away, but 3 and 4 are bigger stepping stones, and I wonder how that pacing is going to continue going forward, because it has been building suspense and it has been building depth. So if you find that you're sort of meandering in episode 1, I promise you, stay the course. Stay the course. It absolutely does pay off. There's definitely a sense of nostalgia here. Not so much to the point, and I'm happy about this, that it ever felt like a crutch. There are some things that, I felt it was like joke after joke after joke, or reference, sort of laying it on with a trowel, as Walt would say. That does not happen here, and I really much appreciate that. I also really, it's a very interesting dynamic, the balancing of the whimsical and the much, much, much darker themes in this show. It's interesting because sometimes you feel that I might be veering maybe almost too far to one, and then it veers very, very far to the other side as well. And I think that's, they are clearly planting the flag. This is not meant to be something for your young kids to watch. Like, I would not, my kids are old enough to make their own decisions now because they're God forbid, they're on this 12, but I don't know that, and there's a few moments that I think, are genuinely scary for some little kids. I say that as a cautionary tale. I would watch it first and then you decide. By the way, we still have the spoiler support group the WDW Radio Spoiler Support Group on Facebook. If somebody could link to it in the comments somewhere, we can talk after tonight. We can talk there about the spoilers. Let's keep the spoilers out of the clubhouse. Keep them in the Spoiler Support Group. I forgot to put the graphic up here. I love the added dimension. I think it's said this before, and I wonder if we're going to start to see more of this. Will they start to sort of pluck some of these interesting characters that have had sort of secondary and tertiary roles in other shows, like we're seeing like with Thunderbolts, and then giving them more of a clear platform? And I think we're to that point, and like Thunderbolts, we're seeing this trend of exploring these morally ambiguous characters. And I think that's, in some cases that's saying it lightly, because I think like Loki and like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like this character development and audience engagement with these very complex figures is, it's very, very interesting. And I will say that the thing that really, as there were some of these like wow moments, and there are a lot of them in this show in the first 4 episodes, I like the fact that Marvel is taking some risks. We saw that, I think, with Werewolf by Night, and taking risks on not just the storytelling, but the characters, these original stories. So yes, there's a bit of nostalgia because we are obviously tying to WandaVision, but we are Agatha All Along, and sort of how it fits into this conversation of taking risks and creating original stories, I think is going to be very interesting to see as the show continues to play out. I have been looking over, I have seen some of your comments. I'm trying to really not, I'm not touching on some of them because I think they will give some of these things away. So Hannah, like, I don't know, again, only being 4 episodes out of 9 in, I don't know how this will tie in to the future of the MCU, but I don't know. My guess is that Agatha and some of the other characters we're being introduced to, their story does not end here on Disney Plus. And I don't know anything, but just based on, I think, the row that the witch's row that they're starting to hoe is what makes me sort of feel that way. So I also really do like that they did not release this all at once. I think when Disney or a company releases something all at one time, Echo, I'm looking at you, it makes me feel like they don't necessarily have the full faith and confidence in it. They want to sort of get it out, get it done, whether it succeeds or fails or doesn't sort of resonate the right way. I think that's why, and I think that's what happened with Echo. But I think Agatha All Along, like WandaVision, and I think maybe the first time since WandaVision, is going to be the show that Wednesday nights we're going to be rushing to our computers to start talking about. We're going to run to the spoiler support group, hopefully, or the clubhouse to start talking about, because that's what I was getting frustrated with last night. I was texting some friends and I was like, I wish I could say something to you, but I can't because I need to sort of get this thing like out of my head and out of my mouth. So I'm looking forward to later on tonight being able to talk about some of those things, and certainly next week with 3 and 4. Hannah Bird says, how would I rate this? Is it PG, PG-13, or R? Like, it's PG for 90% of it. And then it's PG-13 in a couple of other moments. Man, there's a moment I'm thinking, like, it might sort of tap out at PG-13. It probably taps out at PG-13. There's nothing I think in there that probably rises to the level. But when you see the thing that I'm thinking of, you tell me. And again, 97% of it is not scary. There are some dark moments, but there are a couple things I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting that. But again, I very much appreciate like pushing some of those envelopes. Amanda has not watched WandaVision before. Do I need to? Absolutely. You contextually, you will not understand from the outset. You'll not sort of understand what's going on or why certain things are happening. So you very much have to. And WandaVision, although there's a number of episodes, it's a good, easy, fast watch. Like one instantly sort of flows into the other, so you should have no problem. Becky says, "Oh, Becky, you're gonna like these are your people. Like if you're wondering what you should dress up as for the Halloween cruise, get your just dust off your cloak out of your closet and you'll fit right into the coven because it's timely and you can finally get some of those clothes out of the closet you haven't been able to wear very much." Aubrey Plaza was amazing. She's a very quirky human, and that sometimes you watch Aubrey Plaza and you're like, well, it's just Aubrey Plaza. She's not even acting. This is just who she is. Or is she just sort of ad-libbing as herself, or did they write this for her? This character is, in many respects, the actress that's playing her is very much the character. Let me go back. Let me just go back and see if there's anything else that I missed. Again, I'm really trying to not spoil anything. Movie Guy says, would it be TVMA? Yeah, I think it would be. I think it is. It is absolutely for mature audiences, and I think that they are also, in a very different way, they are building up to some things that are on a much more mature level than I would be comfortable having younger kids watch. So maybe that's just an easier way to say it. So, yeah, so I don't have the Spoiler Sport group image or link, but wait, maybe I can find it really quickly. Hold on. Wait, I didn't even think about this. Is that it? Yeah. Oh, here it is. There you go. There you go. So we will discuss this over in the Spoiler Support group, probably starting tonight, because I think there's going to be a lot of things, especially I want to hear your theories. I want to hear your theories about Agatha and some of the characters and all the things that I am very possibly poorly alluding to without trying to spoil anything for anybody. So, Josh says, Mr. Mangello, that was my dad, but thank you, Josh. Love the show and the community you've built. I didn't build it, Josh. I built the clubhouse. All these other people in this room, they are the ones who built the community. But thank you. Discover the show Thanksgiving 2023. First time live listener and long time Walt fan. Josh, thank you very much for being here. Where are you watching from is the question. John Lang, I did watch, and I really liked Werewolf by Night. Again, I liked sort of the horror element that they were leaning. First of all, I love Michael Giacchino, but I love the horror element. I love the more obscure characters from the Marvel Encyclopedia. I think this is sort of pushing some of that even a little bit further, and not in a bad way. I think in a very, very good way. So, but yeah, I do not want to spoil anything at all. And I think somebody just asked for the Spoiler Support group link. It's www.com/spoilers. If not, just search for Spoiler Support group on the Facebooks. So, yeah, but yeah, and just like I might even watch one of the episodes again, which is the first time I felt that way, as I'm thinking out loud, in a long time, watching anything from Marvel, that I want to watch it again because I want to pick up on some of the nuances, and I really want to sort of take in the set decoration and some of the effects that I think were really, really well done. So there you go. All right. With that, now I would like your input, your feedback. I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet. I would love your input and your feedback on the Disney In and Out segment that I introduced this week. If you have not listened to the show as yet, I had this idea late Sunday night for a new type of like fun conversation-based, like little sort of bite-sized discussion segment. I thought about it again in the morning. I wanted to make sure like I wasn't cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, no comments from the peanut gallery. And then I started writing down questions and then messaged a couple of people. I'm like, hey, this is my idea. I'm not sure if it's stupid or not, but do you want to give it a try? If so, like saddle up because we're recording in like 2 hours. And the In and Out segment was born. If you have listened, and I know I've gotten a lot of feedback via email and DMs, thank you so much. I very, very much appreciate the kind words and the comments and the support. And it should be longer. You should do this more often. Like it is super, super helpful. So thank you very, very much for that. And thank you again to Lisa and Connor. I think one of them is here. I don't think Connor is here for making that fun. And it is something that I promise we will do again. And if you are a member of the WDW Radio Nation, maybe I'll tap into you for the next Disney In or Out segment. And if you didn't listen, basically I make a statement like the Boathouse is the best restaurant in Walt Disney World, which may or may not be true. My guests would say whether they're in, they agree, or out, they disagree, and then defend their position one way or the other within 30 to 60 seconds. So it was a lot of fun. It was very interesting to hear some of the just like the abominations of answers that I'm not going to say if it was Lisa or Connor, but it was both Lisa and Connor gave. But that's part of the fun, right? And what I want and what I hope for you listening at home or in your car or with your kids, because unlike Agatha, my show is 100% family friendly. Every one of these conversations is something that we all have an opinion on. So hopefully you're talking to your husband, your wife, your kids, whatever, your friends about it, because that's what I want to do. I want to sort of inspire these discussions back and forth that are simple and they're easy and they're fun and, they're bite-sized. Matthew Woolley says, I want to know what the other 50 questions you had were. And that's why, Matthew, I let them sort of pick them randomly because I didn't want to be biased and just start going down my list or pick out the ones that I thought were the most intriguing. They are everything from things that are coming to things in the past. There are some obviously food-related questions. There's a whole section I have on Disney Cruise Line, Disney Plus, Disney movies that just are meant to, incite, inspire, discussion, debate, controversy, whatever it might be. So Jason says, had a good time listening to the conversation. Agreed with some, disagreed with other. That is the beauty of it. And no harm, no foul. There's no wrong answer, except some of the ones that Connor and Lisa gave. There's no wrong answer, but that was just part of the fun. Actually, what I'm going to do is I think I might take I'm not going to edit it. I might just take the full video. Maybe we'll just throw the whole video up on YouTube for anybody who was interested. Although I did post that clip of Connor, and I'll just leave it there. It's on my Instagram Reels if you'd like to. Mike Pascarella says internet would be a fun at a meet of the month. Yeah, we can definitely do this. Like we can do this kind of thing at events and stuff too. Maybe we'll do something like this on. I can find a venue on the cruise, which is just in a few weeks. Hannah says, I listened. I liked it. How did you come up with the statements? I sat down and just started like brain dumping a variety of different things. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can start sort of categorizing these. I wanted something that I wanted to choose questions that everybody would have an answer to. So if I say, Dole Whip is the best Disney snack, whether you agree or disagree, you have an answer. And the fact that I don't and I won't give anybody who comes on the show the questions ahead of time, it makes you think on the fly. And then I'm sure Lisa was regretting last night going, God, why did I say this? I should have said this. And that's all part of the fun, right? It's part of sort of being on on the spot. So Kira says, can we ask people to choose between Kitchen Cabaret and Food Rocks? Raises hand sheepishly for food. Right, so I could say Kitchen Cabaret was a better attraction than Food Rocks. Kira would then start screaming at me and go, no, Mangello, I am out on that because Food Rocks is better because it had Tone Loc as food wrapper. So, John Lang, I'm a huge Hunchback fan. I love Hunchback. I love so many different elements of it, and we also know of my love/hate relationship with Judge Claude Frollo. Not because he's a judge and I'm a recovering attorney. Amanda Bonner, good evening for Disneyland, about to dine at Cart. Now Amanda's what's doing what the kids like to call flexing, because she is in Disneyland. She's on an Adventures by Disney, and she's about to dine at Carthay Circle in Disney California Adventure. So for example, I might say something like, a cozy cone is a better meal than Carthay Circle. Are you in? Wait, let's just do it right now. Cozy cone is a better meal than Carthay Circle. Are you in or are you out? This is for all of you who are watching. Cozy cone is a better meal than Carthay Circle. I will tell you that I am absolutely in on that argument. I'm more of a casual, I'm like a more laid back, casual dining kind of guy than I am a formal sit down person. Carthay Circle is a wonderful meal. It's a great dining experience. However, I would actually take dining at the Carthay Circle Lounge over dining at the Carthay Circle restaurant. But if I had my choice, if I had my druthers, whatever a druther may be, and I walked into California Adventure, which I've done in the past, and I was given the option, Mangello, where would you like to eat? As you were asking the question, I would already be halfway down the street, heading towards the Cozy Cone, possibly with a stop at the shawarma stand, Ed. So Cozy Cone is a better meal than Carthay Circle. Are you in or are you out? Let's play. And now this is when people like, Mangello, you're an idiot. I thought I liked you before, but who says that? Heidi Goldsworthy. She's like, out. Cozy Cone is certainly cheaper, unless you get 3 of them. I'm not saying that I've done. Drew Pike, smart man. In Brett, see, you asked about food, and there you go. Chauncey Friend, this is why we're friends, not just you with the name of friend. I'm in Cozy Cone and people watch. Yeah, brother, especially now. I know it's only 5 o'clock there, but as it starts to turn from golden hour to witching hour, as it goes from day to night, and Cars Land comes alive, and there's all the Halloween overlay there, and you've got your 3 Cozy Cones in your hand, that's a good night right there. Whew, man. Kristen Bright says, out, be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. I am serious as a heart attack about that. Amanda Bonner, I do love the Carthay Circle Lounge. I do. And if you could walk over to Club 33, you can probably get Becky out of it, and she can probably come over to the lounge and join you. Jason Turner, in on Cozy Cone. Boom. Lisa Glasser, we rarely agree, but here we do. She's also in on the Cozy Cone. Donna says, I do love Cozy Cone, but I've not been to Carthay Circle. Chili con carne. Donna. Bobby, I'm with you. Although, I was sad to see, and maybe it was just a time of the year thing. If somebody, Amanda, do me a favor, run outside of the Carthay Circle, run into Cars Land. Can you please see if they have the chicken verde as well? Because they used to have 3. They have the chili con carne, the mac and cheese, which I think is just, it's pedestrian. Don't order mac and cheese. But they also had a chicken verde, which was spicy and delicious. And that's why you could sort of double fist. You go chili mac, you go chili with the Fritos on one and the chicken verde on the other. That's a good time right there. But chili con carne, it never disappoints. Darlene Nagy, formerly of West Seneca, New York, says, I am so drooling for them. What I would give right this very moment, I'm famished. I've been trying to eat a little healthy, for 2 days, because I have a cruise coming up. And I, too, can't fit into my witch's coven gown. But I would give anything for that. Amanda says the chicken verde sounds delish. Amanda has a group of people from her Me and the Magic community out there. She's going to, excuse me, everybody, I have to leave dinner. I need to go see if they have the chicken verde at the Cozy Cone. I mean, wait till you're finished dinner and then go. Imagine Lou talking about food. Joe, this was not my choice. This was just one of the things that came up as I was talking about the segment. So John Lang says, looking forward to my first Disney cruise ever this February on the Treasure through MEI Travel. Will there be any events for the WDW group? Yes, there will. And we because we don't know, like even for our Halloween cruise, because we don't know the ship schedule until it gets much closer, we won't have an itinerary of events. But you'll find out if anybody who's coming on the Halloween cruise next month, you know that you've just gotten an email from me with a lot of the different activities and things that we're doing, like sign up stuff already on board. So we already start planning and getting those things like in flight earlier on. So the breakfast cone of eggs verde was my ride or die. They don't do it, Meg. Not heartbreak. That's heartbreak. Although, Meg, I will see your eggs verde at the Cozy Cone, and I will instead invite you to walk over to San Francisco Square, just on the pier side of the bridge. There's a coffee cart there that has what might be, I have not had the breakfast chimichanga. It might be the best breakfast item in Disney, definitely California Adventure, possibly Disneyland. They had this steak and egg burrito, which was amazeballs. It's amazeballs. And now I'm like, where can I get a steak and egg and burrito? One, at this time of night, or two, tomorrow morning, or three, in this area? And the answer is I probably cannot. So, sigh. Let me see. Jennifer says, have I ever dined at 21 Royal? I've never heard of it until I watched the Crosbys on YouTube. And they had a meal there with John Stamos. So, Jennifer, I'm going to somewhat reluctantly answer this question. I will say yes. I was invited last year to, I don't know, a couple, not last year, maybe it was 2 years. I don't know, whenever it was. I was invited to a very special lunch opportunity there. And I think I've talked about this on the show, so it's not like I don't want to feel like I'm name dropping, but there was a very small lunch that I was able to attend there, which is an amazing, amazing experience. It was with the prior Bob, not the current Bob, but it was remarkable. So, So Carrie Lee is on the Halloween cruise next month. Brett is on the Halloween. I mean, do you have your costumes ready? Do you have your costume? I have so far. I have 2 costumes. They're here. Like they're in the building. Although I need to do some work on both of them, actually. Which I'm not the craftiest guy in the world, so we'll see how it actually comes out. There was a third one. There was 2 other ones I was going to order. And then I'm like, nobody's going to get them. Nobody's going to think it's funny or get it other than me. I'll wait until we get on the cruise before I say what they were. And then somebody's going to go, oh my God, you should have done it. I would have, but nobody else might know it. And Eddie Kern, nothing that I am wearing is Spider-Man related. I am not wearing anything Spider-Man related. That's all and I will just leave it at that. La Stuff-A-Bagel has a breakfast burrito. At least I've thought about it, but how do you walk into Stuff-A-Bagel and not get a bagel? How do you not get, and the Stuff-A-Bagel, there's really one of 2, possibly 3 plays here. One, it is the Lox Deluxe. You get an everything bagel with a schmear of cream cheese, the lox and the capers and the onions. Ay vey, it's so good. Or if you feel like just treating yourself, and I did the other day, you can get either a pork roll, egg and cheese. It's not Taylor ham. It's pork roll, egg and cheese, or sausage, egg and cheese. Also on the aforementioned everything bagel, or you just get a nice bagel, like maybe an everything bagel or like an Asiago onion bagel with a little smear of like chive cream cheese and a cup of joe. Oy. God, why can't bagels be healthy? I would be like, yeah. Starla says, most ready with costumes for the cruise at table 125. Am I leaving my underoos home? I am not going to answer that question at this time. I have many underoos. It's which ones would I leave and which ones would I potentially take? Darlene, always need the bagel. Do you know what I'm going to do? Somebody remind me of this. One day, I'm going to do like a flash mini meet, like at Stuff a Bagel. I'm like, all right, it's 9 o'clock, 9:30. Anybody who comes to Stuff a Bagel, I will buy you the bagel of your choice, and we will have a bagel with a schmear or whatever, and just have like a little mini meet in or around Stuff a Bagel, just for fun, just for giggles. And if you've never been to Stuff a Bagel, it's just if you're staying on property, like you can get there. You can actually, you can actually Uber Eats Stuff a Bagel. I'm not saying that I'm so lazy or busy, define however you want, that I've ordered Stuff a Bagel, which is a 5-minute drive for me, but I've ordered Stuff a Bagel via Uber Eats. It's the best $11 I've ever spent. Sometimes I have them stop at Dunkin' Donuts and pick me up a pumpkin coffee too. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Nick says, I'm loving the Disney breakfast talk. I still need to do it. And I think I know who I'm going to have do it. I was like, I need to do the best breakfast at Walt Disney World. And there's like, I think I might have asked 2 different people to do it at 2 separate times. But you know what? I'm going to reach out to this person and do it because I've never done. And this person is a food expert. I'll just leave it at that. So, Giovanni, I'm slightly or quite actually very insulted by this. You'd make a good Penguin from Batman. Dude! See, this is why I can't have a bagel tomorrow. Because of Giovanni's hurtful comment about my physique. It just made me so sad that I'd look like, because I think that you mean Danny DeVito Penguin. I think you don't mean like a Burgess Meredith Batman. Not that either one is necessarily better than the other, but like you're thinking more like Cobblepot, like Penguin, and I'm very sad. So Heather says my cruise. Oh, I need cruise PJs. Wait, maybe the Spider-Man onesie will come out after all. Maybe that'll be my cruise PJs. Because I could go. I've got a Spider-Man onesie. I've got a Star Wars onesie. I mean, most of the stuff I wear is technically PJs anyway. And as I get older, sometimes I leave the house. I'm like, this is decent enough. It's fine. Nobody cares what I'm wearing to go to Dunkin' Donuts. So, let me see. I was retired Spider-Man one year for a workout. What does a retired Spider-Man look like? Thomas Wan, I want to see a photo of that in the clubhouse, please. So, Brett says I got bubbles coming up. Oh, what did I do? Did I do like something for... I always forget how to make the bubbles. What did I do for... Is this the bubbles? I don't know what the hand gestures are for bubbles. Meg, see, Meg, now I feel better. She says, Colin Farrell's the new Penguin. Compare yourself to him. Now I feel slightly better about myself, but I don't think that's what Giovanni was necessarily referencing. So, but, all right. So there you go. So there's our in and out segment for this week's show. We talked about Agatha. Definitely check it out tonight. You're going to get to see the first 2 episodes. Let me know if you're in or out on Agatha All Along in the clubhouse. And again, I'll start a thread over in the spoiler. Let me just make myself a note here because I will forget to head on over to the spoiler support group on there you go, on Facebook, and I will post there. I'll be very curious to hear your so in the clubhouse you can talk about your thoughts, you can talk about your predictions, but if there's anything spoiler related, try and just keep it to the spoiler support group. Kevin Lively says, Lou has a better Fantasmic finale than In the Parks. Kevin Lively, you are, I'm trying to make sure I'm not being insulted there. Wait, I don't think so. No. Okay. I think that, you meant the fireworks. You got it. By the way, make sure you follow Kevin Lively over on Instagram. He's, surprisingly enough, at Lively Land, but also check out his new, I don't have it, so I'll put it here, but go and check out his new Imagine What subscription box series. He's saying really nice things about me in this video. Not really, but go check out his Imagine What. Kevin is a former Walt Disney Imagineer. He's come up with this really, really smart idea for a subscription box, not just for kids, but for adults as well. So check them out over at Lively Land and Imagine What over on Instagram. Let me see. I think Kevin says, yes, just recorded the first interview with another former Imagineer wearing a black shirt and running too long. That sounds very familiar. So there you go. Couple other things before I forget. Again, if you dug this week's show, if you dig the segment, if you would like to be helpful, in addition to just being here, please spread the word. Tag and invite a friend to listen to the show, to subscribe to the show. It is super. Let's do it this way. Let's go back here before I forget. We did just announce our cruise aboard the Disney Destiny, February 9th through the 14th, 2026, which I know sounds like a very long way because it is, but you can book now if you go to WDW Radio.com, click on the events tab. You can get a free no obligation quote from our friends over at Mouse Fan Travel. And if you want to go cruise earlier, and why wouldn't you, you can also come on the Disney Treasure, February 8th through the 15th, 2025. We're going to be one of the first groups on the Treasure and also celebrating WDW Radio's 20th anniversary, which is just absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, I have a couple of different ways. If I have a free mindset mastery guide that you can go and download for free at LouMongello.com. And if you want a little bit of help trying to turn what you love into what you do, I have a 5-day email course that is just $7 over at LouMongello.com. And of course, if you're looking for a speaker for your event, conference, business, or school, you can find out more about that. I did it again. I do it all the time. I click on this and then I don't look at the mute thing and then the texts are coming in. I'm muted. Lord. This is what happens when I don't eat in 20 minutes. Yeah, that was my fault. That was my fault about the muting. Sorry about that. I didn't say very much. You know what I said. MouseFanTravel.com, my official recommended travel provider for vacation planning needs. Free travel services. They treat you like family. Go visit them over at MouseFanTravel.com. And yeah, the Spoiler Support Group. So that's it. That is it for this week's show. Sorry about the muting. If you maybe I'll take a picture one day of everything that's sort of going on the other side here, and you see you see sometimes why I make those. 20 years later, I'm still human, and that's probably not going to change anytime soon. Wait, look, I can make fireworks though, so I might be muted, but at least I know how to make fireworks. Anyway, thank you again for tuning in. In case I was muted before, if you liked this week's episode, if you liked the show, the best way you can help is by spreading the word, tagging and inviting a friend to listen and subscribe, sharing a link over on social, wherever you do your socials. It would be incredibly helpful and appreciated. If there's ever anything I can do for you, please reach out to me. You can just email me, DM me, or go to LouMongello.com and find out ways I can help you or work with you there. So until next time, until next week, I have something cool to share with you next week too, by the way, which also Momentum is next week. I've just freaked myself out. I got to go. I have a lot to do. I love you. I don't think this does anything. It doesn't, but I do. I love you and I appreciate you. And thank you so very much for being here. And thank you for listening and for all the kind words. See ya. Look, I'm not going to mute myself.